I want to end the recording. What does it say? Okay, we running. All right, so we're good to go. All right, we're live. Just wanted to make sure. All right, so you're listening to Voices from the Grind. This is your boy, Joe, the Wealth Architect. And as you know, in Voices for the Grind, we talk about issues of money, trauma, relationship issues as it pertains to money, incarcerated people and formerly incarcerated people. Today, I have a special guest. We're going to just call her Miss Camacho because, right, we don't want nobody to mess up her name. But this is Miss Camacho. And I met her earlier this year, 2025. At a function in, I believe it was like Midtown Manhattan somewhere, right? But wherever it was, we didn't know each other. Like I said, that's where we met. And what I observed and admired, right, I will say, is how committed she was and is to the community. I mean, it really, you know what I'm saying? Like you exude that, you really give that off. I could tell, like your passion for it. So that's what drew me to you. And I don't know if you remember, I gave you a copy of my books, a set, right? And, and I'm not trying to funny. I don't give it to everybody. I'm kind of, because that stuff costs money, But it's like she is going to use it. She's going to spread the word. I felt, that from you. And then just Halloween, just the other day, we were in Crown Heights in the hood, right, working with the kids and stuff. And so you continue to do that. So I say that to say I want to give you a warm welcome and introduction to Voices from the Grind. So welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome. And so we want to start with tell us a little bit about yourself, right? We want to so people get a basic understanding of who Camacho is. How did Camacho get to this point, right? I'll give you a few minutes to get into that, and then we'll dive into the whole issue of money and how it relates to incarceration, and especially how it impacts women. Right? I mean, it's a big. Women are the pillars of the family. Always have been.
That's right.
I mean, yeah. So anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself for a few minutes, and then we'll go from there.
So thank you for inviting me. I love spending time with you, sharing space with you. Mm-hmm. So my name is Miss Camacho. I'm a practitioner of Ifai and I'm also the founder of Ahorita Meta Resources Inc. So Ahorita Meta Resources Inc. is a anonymous and confidential resource hub that focuses on resourcing individuals who are from hidden populations, service resistant and program resistant. So that includes sex workers, drug dealers, drug users, gun carriers, gang members, and formerly incarcerated.
So you're in the hood. You're right there where it's happening.
Yes.
That's deep. That's deep. No, that's what I'm saying. It takes a certain personality, right? A certain seriously. I'm not even trying to be funny. That's real. Like it takes a certain personality, a certain character, you gotta be. No, I mean I think people can learn to give in that way. But I think for you it's just natural. I mean you're in it. Just the way you broke it down, it's like, I'm in it. And the beauty of that is that it's hard. It can be hard in this world, right? Seriously. Just for anybody, even people who have money, some money, they struggle. And so it can be hard. But when you have people who are on the fringes, so to speak, on the margins, who's really like in the streets, like I said, either, with their bodies, with drugs, with, just no food or whatever, it's a real thing. So so I commend you for that. That's definitely, that's definitely, you know what I'm saying? That's definitely warrants, some real respect there. So thank you for sharing that. Like I said, so we're going to move on to the heart of the topic. One of the things you didn't mention, but I'll say it, since we that's where we're going there, is that you, like me, are formerly incarcerated, right?
No, justice impacted. I
Oh,
got
justice
an
impact.
alternative to detention.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good. Okay. I
I was
thought.
able to
Okay.
get the alternative to detention through anger management.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. So
I
thank you
worked
for
hard on
correcting me.
that.
Okay. No, that's good. I'm glad you avoided that. So, but
Thank you.
justice impacted though, for real, because you came real close. So I imagine that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know because actually, like I said, I assume, and I should not have. But because when you say justice impacted, I use that word too. It doesn't mean someone who's actually did time before. Somebody who in some way has been entangled in the criminal justice system or affected by the criminal justice system. You know what I'm saying? Like our loved ones and stuff. So it's definitely real. That even get, like I said, that's what I said, the more and more, you know what I'm saying, I get to see where your head is at. It's like, okay, not just your head, but with your heart. You got a big heart. You got a big heart.
Appreciate
And
it.
that's a wonderful thing. So when it comes to the justice impacted, right, such as yourself, why do you think a lot of us, as you know, I'm formerly incarcerated, and a lot of us struggle when it comes to money? A lot of people in general, but why do you think it could be sometimes, very difficult for us? Not saying everyone, but a lot of us.
It's because on a ancestral level, we've been excluded from the formal economy. So, there's not enough spaces in the formal economy for people from our community. And this is why we create the underground economy, which, we witnessed it in our community event in Crown Heights, where it's like you have, a resource give back, but it's happening right in the middle of the underground economy when drugs are being sold. And,
it's normalized. It's normalized.
Correct.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the only avenue for our community to make money to survive.
Yeah. No, I get it. I came from that. I came from that. You know what I'm saying? As far as hustling, I know the mentality, stuff like that. So I want to go deeper though, and add this point that, because what you described are external circumstances, right? Like we born into a community or you live in a community, whatever case may be. And in some of the communities that we grew up in, I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn, very rough neighborhood, still is very rough. And to your point, it felt like there were not a lot of options, right? It's like, if you're going to make money, how are you going to make money? Like it just seems like there's not a lot of options. So now, what I realize now that I'm much older and spent 25 years in prison, I'm much older now. You probably didn't know that, right? Yeah. So now we learn about each other. We building, right?
That's right.
And I wrote my first book while I was inside. Yes, 17 years ago. 17 years ago. I'm saying 18. No, that's like 18. It was 2007. It's unbelievable when I think about it. So I'm on a mission too, like you, to impact people, and that's why I think our spirits connect. Because I believe, in addition to the external circumstances, some of those things we cannot sometimes, even if I'm not gonna say we can't control, because we can, right? If we owned our community, if we ran our community the way we're supposed to, right? Way we're supposed to, then in respectful ways and communal way, then we can govern ourselves. I mean, just think about it. You can govern yourself, right? That's what self-governance is, basically. You know what I'm saying, at the heart. So what I'm getting at is that all those things are real. Those circumstances, like I said, I grew up in, those circumstances, my family, and so many people that I met, right? So, going upstate is that there are internal things that also determine the behaviors I act on and how I see my options. Meaning that even though when I was in prison, young, 20-something years old, like, oh my God, I'm being honest, I'm being very raw, right? And I'm saying my world is over. They said 25 years. How the hell I'm gonna do that? The world is over. And I had to dig deep and really start thinking about what the hell my life meant, right? Where it was going, where I wanted to go. And I had to be very intentional. I had to be very honest with myself too, to say, yes, these things existed in the community. That's my point. But also I had to take responsibility. Right? Because there's some people in my community who didn't make, I'm not saying they made no bad choices, but they didn't make the types of choices that I made, right? And some of my friends that landed us in prison. And so what I'm getting at is that once my mindset changed, once I started thinking, I said, yo, if I want a different life, I got to think different. I can't keep thinking the same way because I'm going to get the same results. I mean, that's, I learned, 22, 23. And I looked at everybody around me, a lot of violence. Everybody want to be tough guys. This is prison. It's real. It's real, right? A lot of fights and all this other stuff. I'm like, wow, how did I get myself into this? You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, right? We all been in situations where you like, what the hell? I know better than this, right? And so I'm like, all those thoughts are going through my mind. But what I'm getting at is once I started, relying on something that my mother used to always say, which was that I was smart, I was very capable of doing anything I put my mind to. She drilled that in my head. Literally, she drilled it in my head. And yeah, I feel blessed now when I think about it because it's carried me. My mom passed away in 2019. But when it comes to that part, I feel her presence. I can hear her words. Whatever I apply, you know what I'm saying? For real. That's why, I'm serious. It's partly why I moved the way I moved with like a certain confidence. My mom's instilled that in me as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she did a good job with that. Now later she became, a different mother. I'm just going to say that. I don't know if this is the right time, but later on in my mid-teens, she succumbed to drug addiction, and that impacted our lives and all that. So, but through it all, I always heard her voice. You know what I'm saying? So it's real. So I say that to say for my show, right? Because I want to get back to me questioning you and me not talking, right? I want to hear from you, right? So what I'm saying is that I believe the external circumstances are real, right? Those environmental things, those societal things, racism is real, right? You just got to call it for what it is. Sexism is real. All those things are real. So we can't operate in a bubble, or we can't pretend to operate in a bubble. We know those things are real. And so that said, there are things that we can change. And one of the things that we can change is our mindset.
That's right.
Is the way we think. No matter what the experience is, you can have two people going through the same experience, having the same or similar experience, and yet one goes one way with their life and another goes another way. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So it's definitely, I don't know why cracking that. But so yeah, I just wanted to point. So now how do you think we reach those people who how do you think we reach those people, like in addition to what you're doing, right? Like being right there on the streets, whether, like you said, whether it's sex workers, gangbangers, moving some ganja or some other stuff, right? In the streets, they making it do what they do, as they say, right? They trying to make ends meet. Now, not minimizing it, but how do we reach them to get them to shift their mindset? Because that's what changed my life. When I started changing the way I thought, my behavior followed. All of us is like that. You think we reach them?
It would have to be meeting them exactly where they're at.
Right.
So for instance, right? One thing about let's say I just focus on my drug dealing clients who are still, surviving in the underground economy. It's two things that are happening at once. they're
Okay.
experiencing like the process of making money can be addicting because it's fast
Hmm.
money.
That's
Once
true.
they flip a pack and then they're able to, flip another pack and another pack and then
Right.
station themselves on the same block and have like the same clients coming again.
No, I know how it goes. I know how the
You get
game. It's
addicted.
addictive. That
That's
lifestyle's
an
addictive.
addictive process, right? So
It really is.
we have to meet them kind of in their, I like to call it the process addiction, where they're
Yeah.
like in love with the process of creating the stamps for their drugs,
Okay.
because it's a creative process as well, the
No,
same
it
way it's a
is.
financial one.
No, it
So
is.
we have to meet them there,
Right.
in the,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Meet them where they're at. Meet them where
yes,
they're at. No, that's a good point. Because,
yes,
like, if you say, "Oh, come to this session," they're gonna be like, "Well, I ain't with that. They in the streets, right?" Because a lot of stuff is this, right? We're gonna get to the trauma piece in a minute, right?
mm-hmm.
We still got more than a half hour, so we rocking and rolling, right? We just warming up now. We getting ready to get to the good stuff in a minute. We warming up, right? But no, so I think that's a good point, Camacho. That we got to meet people where they're at, right? Ideally, if you can get a whole bunch of people in one room, then one presentation or workshop. But especially when you might have people that got beef with each other and all this other stuff, that probably will not work, right? It's just not logical, and it's unfortunate because I know very well the underground economy, like what I'm saying. I mean, in terms of selling drugs, not proud of it, but I've been there, done that, right? And my thing is, did that in my teens and 20s, my late teens and 20s. And that started my journey to getting into, other stuff, right? And so I know intimately how addictive the lifestyle could be, right? And, I always say you got the fast money, fast cars, fast women,
Yes,
and it's all there. It's all
right.
there. So, uh, what I learned though is, one that was a part of my life, but I'm glad it's behind me. And wish you live and learn. You live and learn. But my thing is that as fast as I made the money, I spent it too because I was not financially literate. I made thousands of dollars. This is over 30 years ago, like 35 years ago, like that. It's hard to believe it now, but a day, like every day, I was like $1,000,
So
right?
you saw big money.
But but I didn't know what to do with it. I just bought fancy clothes, jewelry, took trips and things like that. I thought that's what you do. And it was when I went upstate without a paid lawyer. So now I'm doing all this hustling, right? And then didn't have lawyer money. So that's not thinking ahead. Like thinking like, oh, I might get in trouble one day. Let me at least retain an attorney. People don't do that. We're thinking hand to mouth. A lot of what I'm getting at is the mindset. There's different levels to that type of mindset being in the street, but in the context of what we're talking about, we delude ourselves by I know I did by thinking that we're thinking big, it's making fast money. Just because you make fast money, even lots of money, doesn't mean that you're doing it big. You know what I'm saying? It really doesn't. But you get a false sense of power, a false sense of significance.
That's right.
You got people who are humble and all this other stuff, and they say, "Oh, this guy now all of a sudden he's tough because he or she is, selling drugs." So it really distorts people's mindsets, their mentality and stuff like that. It can. It doesn't do it to everybody. So, but it's the mindset. If you shift the mindset, I think in talking with people on at their level, right? What we have to appeal to, what I learned is not. We want to appeal to the fact that they like making money or that they see themselves as money making. Put it that way, right? However they get it.
Yes.
And yet, what we want to get to is how do they feel about their lives, And I don't mean like putting people on the spot, but basically, looks like you went out. All right, we got to get you back in, Camacho. So you're not talking to, but this is boy Joe, the Wealth Architect. It's another episode of Voices from the Grind. We had my good friend Camacho on the line. We will get her back. I'm not sure if we had some technical difficulties. But we were talking about, while we wait for it, we were talking about how do we reach people who are there we go. There we go. Not sure what happened, but we got it back. We got it back.
We're
We
here.
here.
We're here.
So I was sharing with the audience where we left off. That's good. You didn't skip a beat. I like that. That's good. Right? So we were talking about how we reach people who's, you know, in the so-called underground economy, right? Who's trying to make it any means, you know, not any means necessary, but trying to make ends meet. How do we reach them? And Camacho was saying that we meet them where they're at, right? We also talked about, I just want to, you know, kind of recap. We also talked about how there are external circumstances, right? Poverty, which is real, right? Poverty, homelessness, drug addiction, violence, all of these things in some communities. And I know it because I lived it, right? So it's compounded. It's not like 1 + 1. We're talking like exponents, 2 to the third power type of, you know what I'm saying? Trauma. So that brings to the point that I want to get for the second half of the podcast, right? We at that point, the second half right now. So all of those things, like you said, and the lack of, so you got these external things that we just talked about. You got the invisible stuff, which we're getting ready to get to, the trauma. It's invisible until it's not invisible. It comes out through violence, right? Different forms of violence, even self-violence, right? Hurting ourselves, whether it's drugs. We get ready to go deep. I'm just prepping you and let you know we get ready to go, right? And so we got these external things, and then compounded on that is we don't have the internal, not that we don't have the capacity, we have it in us, but we haven't been trained, right? So that we unlearn some of the stuff we've learned, because a lot of stuff don't help us. Some of the stuff our thinking is backwards. It doesn't serve us. And we need to help people realize that. Some people know it, and then point them in the right direction. All right, you want to get money, you want to do these things, whatever, this and that. Let me show you this. People didn't, I didn't get that. I didn't only, you know, I knew you work a job or you can hustle in the streets. It was that simple. I didn't have a lot of entrepreneurs around me. I didn't have people who invested in the stock market, none of those things. And we want to be those examples of people that do that. So on a side note, you and I got to talk. We got to see, not trying to get in your business, but we talk about the finances, because we got to, you know what I'm saying? You want to be on that level where you're making moves. You're making moves. You know what I'm saying? So you can put your money to work, right? That's the name of the goal. That's the name of the game. All right. So now let's just segue. We're talking about trauma. And trauma is no light topic. It's not. You know what I'm saying? I'm smiling, but I'm like, this thing is deep. So share with us. Let's dive right in, and I'm gonna go with you. We're gonna go there together, right? But share with me and the listeners. How would you describe your relationship with money in general, and have you or do you experience any, you personally, we'll get into other people, but any type of you feeling trauma when it comes to money? How has it played out in your life?
Well, for me, it was my grandmother. May her soul rest.
Okay.
We were not, you know, she came from Boricua. She came from Puerto Rico, you know, and it was only her and her 3 children. She didn't speak a lick of English, and you know, she didn't have but a 3rd grade education. Okay. So, you know, she did her best to raise us, and she did excellent. But she was also a garbage picker. So all the toys that we had when we grew up, I used to walk with my grandmother to the garbage, and she would look through the garbage and find toys that she felt was still.
And this is Puerto Rico?
No, this is in New York when she came.
Okay, gotcha.
So we used to be on the Grand Concourse, right along Fordham Road, Preston Avenue, and she used to get toys from there, and she used to wash them and Clorox them. And you know, so my relationship with money.
Let me ask you this. Let's stop right there. What did you get from that? How old were you?
Me, we grew up like that. So
so you're saying most of your life. Okay, gotcha. It's with your grandmother. Oh, okay.
Yes.
It was your grandmother mostly raised you?
Yes. That was
Okay,
my
gotcha.
grandma. Hmm.
Okay, no, that's what's up. I'm close to my grandma. I was close. She passed away, grandma. All right, so I got you. So that's a hell of a story. So what did you take from that? How did that make you see money, your place, your relationship with money? How do you feel? How did it make you feel?
I didn't have an example of what happens when you are making money consistently. I had an example of what a resourceful woman looked like when you had no money. So
Right,
I'm grateful for that example. So
right.
when
I
I
like
started,
that. That's a
when
good way to look at it. Being resourceful. A
yes,
lot of people don't know how to do
yes,
that. That's a skill.
yes. So
Hmm.
by the time I started getting my first paychecks, it was going straight to my mother. My mother would collect the paycheck. So
Hmm.
for a long time, I was working, but my mother was taking the paycheck. So I
Uh,
didn't know how to develop a sense. I knew how to work for money, but
hmm.
the money was always taken for something else. So I didn't have an opportunity to learn
To be
how to
hands
use
on
those.
with money, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
to be hands on to make it work for you. You didn't know how to
yeah,
put it to use because you couldn't really get your hands on it. That's unfortunate too. I learned the
you know,
wrong way. I knew how to get it and and all that stuff. I didn't know how to
right.
keep it. I didn't know how to keep it. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Or make it
So
work
there's a
for me. I didn't know
relationship
that.
there.
There's a
There's
relationship.
definitely a
Wow.
relationship.
So
And I
now,
don't think
so
it was intentional. I think
no.
the women in my life did what they could with what they had.
Right, right, right. No,
What can
and
I
I
say?
respect that. I respect that. So now, where you're at in your life now, do you think it? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as resourceful? Or you see it or different? Do you think you broke from the mold, so to speak, or that you are like them in a lot of ways, in some ways, when it comes to money? Money, that's what we talk
I would say that I'm like a hybrid. Like I
about. Okay.
still know how to make money, but as far as like investing money, that's like would be new territory for me. Like
Right.
really saving a lot of money, that would be a new territory for me. But
All right, I got you.
making
Well, you got to
money,
start from somewhere because people always say a lot. You start with $5, $10. How about that? Because you know what I'm saying. I can show you how you can get started for like under $100. Like seriously,
wow.
and then you just put yeah. People think you need a lot of money. You just got to get started. That's why I said in some of our this is an aside, but we also as a part of our Think Outside the Cell community. Let me get my stuff as a part of that. As a part of that, uh, we meet up, we do meetups, we have other classes, things like that, so people can find us, think outside the cell, uh, school or community. And so, yeah. Anyway, so I just say that to say that it's really important to be plugged in and to be around people who like myself, right? I'm not like trying to pat myself on the back, but I'm just saying that people who talk about money. I like being around people who talk about money. Not saying that that's the only thing they talk about, but what I'm saying is that it's on their mind because they're very intentional about it.
That's
That's
right.
what I'm saying. Not just I'm just making, and I don't mean intentional like I'm hustling. I'm making some money, making what they say a rack. I'm gonna make a rack today. No, but that's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about being intentional about getting money legitimately, making it work for you, and making it work for you for the rest of your life. Right, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. But I love talking about this, but I don't want to get off track. What I'm saying is that we want to make sure that when we talk to people, that we not just talk about money, that we also get into mindset. That it makes a difference, like how you think about this stuff, because it's going to inform the decisions. It's going to inform how much you spend, what you spend it on, right? Because your mindset is part of that is your values, what's important
Right.
to you. So if
That's
you want
right.
to impress people, that's where your money is going to go. It's going to go in
Right.
the latest Nikes, the this, that. I dress casual. I don't care about impressing. My money, my money is working for me. That's all I care about. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to, I'm not saying in my whole life. I'm saying when it comes to this money thing, I don't care about people's view. You know, I dress clean, stuff like that, but I'm not my 20-year-old self where, you know, I had to wear name brand, I had to be like how these, you see people on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We wrap our whole kind of identities in
Oh, wow.
labels to impress people and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. That's what we got to break away from. You know, that's one of the things. So anyway, let's dive right in, right? So let's really get into why we having this conversation, and it's about money and trauma, right? Money and trauma, and how it impacts more than people who were impacted by the criminal justice system. But that's our focus here, right? Because a lot of crimes are made for money or
That's
material
right.
things.
That's right.
Most crimes are, right? If you get groups, whether it's larceny, drugs, robbery, something, usually there's some money, it's theft, there's money, you know, it's that type of stuff, right? Writing bad checks, this, that, doesn't matter. White collar, blue collar, most of them will fall
Mm-hmm.
with money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I say that to say, again, this is your boy Joe. Let me just say this again, Joe, the Wealth Architect, and we are building. We are really we building, as we used to say growing up, right? So it's you know, it's a pleasure to have Camacho with us. I just want to repeat that. She's really for the people. That's why she's here. In this new iteration, we're relaunching this podcast. She's number one, right? She's number one, right? So she's the first one. So because she really is, like I said, about the people. We're about the people, and we're about teaching our people about how to have the right attitudes and mindset when it comes to money. So we covered a whole bunch of stuff. You can go back and check that out. But right now, we get into trauma and how a lot of people, and ourselves included, right? Camacho shared with us, right? Very moving piece about how her grandmother raised by a grandmother, and how her and her siblings, and I guess whatever other family members, and she watched her grandmother as she grew up, as Camacho grew up, watch her get stuff that, and they have a saying for, you didn't say this, but they said one person's trash is another person's treasure. Right?
That's right.
And
That's
I
right.
believe that, because this, you know, it's all the definitions we give to things. Like when we say this is good or bad, this is waste or not, or it's good or whatever. No, just because I can't use something doesn't mean somebody else can't, yeah, or vice versa, right? And
Right.
so one of the things that you said you really learned from your grandmother in particular is resourcefulness. And you don't hear a lot of people say that, right? That's a really good skill to have, right? One of the things, this is on another level, you're talking like in general, and you're talking in a tangible way, like you know how to make it happen from whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that's a skill. That's a skill. Everybody doesn't have that. And so Tony Robbins, somebody who I follow and been following for 30 something years, motivational speaker and a whole bunch of other things, right? And one of the things he said with a lot of us, he said, you don't have a resource problem, right? He's talking about in general. A lot of times, like even myself, oh, I need more money, I need this. He said, you're not resourceful. He said, it's not that you don't have the resource, you're not, because resourcefulness takes a creativity. That's why I said everybody doesn't have it. You see things that other people don't see. Somebody sees trash, you're like, oh, I could use that. Right? That's a certain, seriously, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
You know, because we buy the hype, and we think that whatever everybody else say is valuable, then that's what it is.
Yes.
But value is subjective.
Yes. And you know what's so crazy? Yes, and you know what's so crazy? You just reminded me of Rosie's correctional facility. When I was there, I was doing anger management classes for the ladies, because I was like, okay, I figured out how to do anger management for myself to close my criminal court case. Let me go in there and help the ladies. And because everything is contraband, I used to actually go in the garbage and take out the boxes, like construction boxes, and I would decorate the ladies' entire units. So you always
Wow.
knew my unit because it was
Wow.
decorated with
That's
quotes,
deep.
with
That's
Cardi
deep.
B
That's what I'm saying. That's
flowers.
deep. That's deep. No,
So
that's deep. That's
it
deep.
passed
That's the
down.
resourcefulness. It came in handy,
Right.
and you beautified a place that's not beautiful. Right? We
That's
talking about
right.
the jail, the county jail. Just think about it. That
That's
takes.
right.
That's what I say. It takes a certain creativity. It takes a
Mm-hmm.
certain way of seeing the world differently, actually. Right? And
That's
so
right.
if you think about it, right, it really is a good skill, being resourceful. That's when you said that's, oh wow, let's build on that. So we'll come back to that though. I like that. That's good. So now we get into the last 15 minutes or so, and we get into the trauma. Right? Let's go
Mm.
there. So now, for me, let me just start with this. That
Mm.
trauma, like I said, is something that I want to hear about yours, and then I'll elaborate on mine. But I want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
uh, how it really, like, basically how it plays out, how it really impacts a lot of us. So
Mm.
that some of us will, um, cause harm or have harm even because of them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because of chasing a dollar, right? Trying
That's
to
right.
get money, and we keep getting traumatized, re-traumatized, all this stuff
That's
like
right.
that. So we definitely have, just like how we saw in Crown Heights the other day. That's
That's
trauma.
true.
People
That was
reacting a certain way. It's like, they have a term, emotional regulation. It's like, yo, calm down. You're like, I thought they was gonna pop off. I'm like, man, in my mind, I'm being honest. I was like, I didn't come here for this, right? I come here to get to the kids. This guy's ready to pop off, right? So we have a lot of
true.
trauma, a lot of issues, a lot of false ideas about masculinity, a whole bunch of stuff, to be honest, that we really
That's
deal
true.
with, right? We don't like that. We think being humble is weak. I think it's a
Mm.
strength. I think it's a strength, right?
That's
Because
right.
it's not easy being humble when everybody else think they tough and all this other stuff like that, or they're just nasty and not respectful, and you're being humble. It's like, damn, you wish everybody was humble, right? But it doesn't work like that. So trauma though. So a lot of
Mm.
people, like I said, we got to meet them where they're at and really get to the trauma indirectly,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Indirectly. So, can you tell us about an experience? Because I'm sure you've had at least one
Yes.
where it was traumatic, like you felt, or maybe even feel now, like trauma when it comes to money.
Working with the gang population really, really showed me
Mm-hmm.
early in the movement
Mm-hmm.
that there's no longevity in being a gangster. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing really to hype up about being a gangster because it costs lives and it costs
Mm-hmm.
intergenerational wealth.
Yep. Yep.
So I see how trauma and the fear of losing your life early as a gangster
Mm-hmm.
adds to your wanting of fast money, the wanting of the fast cars and the fast life, because you really don't think you're gonna live to see tomorrow,
That's
because
a
you don't
lot.
know who's gonna take
People
you
told
out.
me that. People told me that. Yeah, it's crazy because I didn't. I don't think that I thought like that. I knew it was dangerous and that I could get hurt. I did know that, but I don't think I'm like, oh, I'm only gonna make it to 21. But I heard a lot of people say that they didn't think they had specific day. I didn't think I was gonna make 18. I didn't think that's when I was like, wow, that's deep.
Right.
That's deep. Yeah, I didn't think beyond those ages, but
Mm.
doesn't mean, which is interesting. Doesn't mean that I didn't, like, in other words, I didn't think like, oh, what would I look at 30? Or not what I
Wow.
look like, what would I be doing? I didn't think that far,
Wow.
But
Wow.
now, and that's what I think is part of the problem too, right? Like you just said,
Mm.
if you think you're gonna be dead, then you're not thinking far. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
I just wasn't fatalistic about it like that. I didn't think like, oh, I'm gonna be dead or something like that. I just felt that.
Right.
I just didn't think far. Now that's what I think in 5 years, 10 years, thinking blocks of time like that ahead of me. That's
Right.
what I think I got a plan. But yeah, so
Right.
no, that's deep. So you said for you, what was the trauma?
For me, it just cost me during that time. I didn't spend enough time with my grandmother while she was sick because I was, running behind a partner at the time who was the head of a gang. We were just running around all over the
Right.
city. And,
Mm-hmm.
even when she had passed away, I couldn't see her because I was arrested. I was in a holding cell to be
Wow.
put in front of a judge. By the time
Mm.
they dropped the charge, because I said, I had a pretty much, there was a restraining order on me because of a violent act that I did. And, the person who had the restraining order happened to be in the hospital where my grandmother was. So I
Wow.
couldn't enter the hospital. I called the
That's deep.
police on myself 7 times and told the officer I need to be escorted in the hospital because she's dying.
Mm-hmm.
And the police said that was a gray area and we can't escort you. So I
Wow.
walked in there to see her, and as soon as I came out the hospital, they arrested me. And while I was in the holding cell, waiting to see a judge, she passed away.
Oh, that's deep. That's deep.
So,
Wow. That's
so
deep.
it's
Yeah. So you feel that? Yeah. Nah. Yeah. When was this? I'm sorry to hear that too, man. That's deep.
this was during the last almost leg of the pandemic. This was
Okay.
recent.
Okay. Wow. It's like 23 or something like that. Wow.
Yeah, and that's when my court case closed. And
Nah, that's deep. That's deep. Did that? What? How did that? Like seriously? Like how did that? Not so much just like how did it affect you, but did it make you like operate differently? I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like did something about that like change something in you or inspired something? Did it do something to you that?
Yeah, it gave birth to Ahorita Meta Resources Inc. And that's why I'll take the resources directly to the block. It made me give birth to the idea that I need to create something that, can reach people in hidden communities so that, they don't have to make any stupid choices like I did or like my ex-husband did. We need to give them a way out.
That's good. Okay, I appreciate you saying that. I'm learning more and more. So now explain to me and everybody who's listening, give us about a minute or so about the organization you just mentioned, right? And explain what that means. I speak poquito español, right? So explain what what that means. Break it down for us.
So Ahorita Meta Resources Inc. The Ahorita Meta is a 3-way crossroad. Okay. So it's the idea that people who are in hidden communities need multiple avenues. And when you come to the crossroads where I will be there non-judgmental. You let me know what your story is. You don't got to let me know your charges. You don't have to let me know if you're still active. You don't even got to let me know your name, because at Ahorita Meta Resources Inc., we don't take any confidential information. The only information you have to share with me is what resource do you need?
Right.
Once you tell me the resource, I tap into my partners who also understand my client base. Right. And then I do the connection.
Gotcha. Nice. No, I like that. Yeah. And you know what? It's interesting. Now that I think about it, I was telling my wife about you. I'm being honest, right? Because we had a little staycation on Halloween. Remember I told you, and I had to come back to the city, right?
That's right.
And so I showed her the pictures you sent and the brother Blair that he sent, right? And but anyway, I was in describing you. I was like saying that you're very resourceful. I just thought about that. I'm serious. I said, "Oh, remember?" I don't know if she remember, but I was like, "You remember we went to the thing and Alvin Bragg was there, and and blah blah blah." And I said I gave her a set of my book, and she gave me like some informational stuff. Right? You was passing out informational stuff, and I said she's very resourceful. So it's funny. It just dawned on me now that that's what you're living that. You're repping that. You embody that. You embody being resourceful. So I'll just say this, that I think your grandmother would be very proud of you because you seriously, and not that I'm seriously, you're repping it, whether you know it or not. It's like you repping her being resourceful because people need help. You know what I'm saying? That's real talk. So keep up what you're doing. I definitely respect that. I came from hard times. We didn't grow up in shelters, all that, moms, right? So this stuff is personal to me, So it's all the more reason to really, I know that there's always going to be an underground economy, right? I'm not saying I'm not saying it has to be, but I know that it's going to exist. So for me to think otherwise would be fooling myself. But I do think that if we can give, like you said, the Orita, right? The Orita Meta, right? Now I'm getting it, right? That's why I'm talking about I get it. You mentioned the three. I'm a good listener. The three roads. So one of the roads that I'm presenting, right, and that we're presenting in the Think Outside the Cell community is financial literacy, right? That is a life skill. I'm telling you. That's why whenever certain opportunities, when I can, especially if it's indoors, we not, you know what I'm saying? But if you got opportunities, you want me to come through, I'm about it too. Because you help people change the way they think about themselves. That's a big part. A lot of this is not just the money, like I said, it's mindset, and it's about our self-identity. I started off earlier about how my mom poured into me. I didn't realize, what she was doing, but it's 5 of us, and my siblings still say, "Oh, you were the favorite." I mean, my mom just really doted on me, right? And it's like I always feel in love and stuff. So my point and encouragement, and so our self-identity. I always saw myself. That's why my first book was called "Think Outside the Cell," because I always saw myself as beyond the person. Like what I did, I feel terrible about. I'm remorseful. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But it's called Think Outside the Cell because I was literally and figuratively thinking outside. I said, "Nah, these walls can't contain me. This is stressful. I'm only here for a moment." And I ended up doing a quarter. I thought I would be out sooner than that, but I made the best of the time. I came out a much better person, more empowered, more, my values, and not just values, but so many things are just so much different about me. So going back to what we was talking about, for me, I've had several traumatic experiences, and like all of us, I think for me, there's several. I don't even know where to begin because there were so many. So I don't know if I should go before prison, after prison. But I think for one for me, I'll just say this: just the stigma of poverty was difficult for me. Meaning knowing that I was poor, and there shouldn't be nothing wrong with being poor. If you don't have it, you don't have it. But as a kid, as a teenager, I'm thinking, man, I got to get fly. I got to do this, So it added all this extra pressure, right? It added all this extra pressure that now I realize caused me to make really bad decisions, right? To commit crimes and stuff like that, right? Because that goes back to what you're saying, or what we were saying earlier about options. And it made me think that I had few options. So I looked at what was around me, which was people making fast money. It was usually either robbing, stealing cars, selling drugs. That's what most people was doing on some level or another. And I knew something was wrong with it, but I was like, after I worked a couple of jobs, then it was like, okay, this is not fast enough, right? So yeah, it's really deep. So the trauma for you, like you said, what's beautiful about it is that for both of us, that's what I realized, is that we both use our trauma or some type of trauma related to money, and we turned it into something powerful, right? Something that's meant to help other people. That's deep, right? And think about it. No, it really is deep, right? Because for a lot of people, they can be like eaten alive, so to speak, by the trauma, right? The streets can take them, right? It's so true. The streets can consume them because that's what the streets does. Streets ain't got no love, man. I realize now I'm in my 50s. It doesn't, man. You bringing the love, but the street don't got no love. It's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Not unless it's changed. When I grew up, the streets ain't got no love. People talk behind your back. They act like they cool with you. You know what I'm saying? You may have some people that's all right or whatever. Okay, I'm not saying anybody's bad, but I'm saying the streets in general has no love for you, right? So that's why I commend you for being there, because you're showing love. You're not just talking, you're demonstrating, hey, I want to show you these resources, this other way. And, believe it or not, I'm sure you're getting through to people. The longer you stay in, the more you do, the more resources you bring to the community, people will see your value even more. Right? And then people will you'll develop I don't know if you're there already, but develop your own brand, because the brand is not just a logo. The brand is your reputation. It's your reputation. When people say Camacho, when I think Camacho, I think resources. That's what you want people to think. You see what I'm
That's true.
saying? When people think of me, they think money. Right? This is real talk, right? That's because I've been
That's a
doing it for
fact.
30 years. Like, this is what I rap. I ain't repping the whole gang. I'm not trying to talk about my my gang, my army is money. And it works for me. How about that?
That's
You know what
right.
I'm saying? Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
My soldiers is making money for me, right? And they ain't hurting nobody. I'm investing in other companies so other people can eat. I'm
That's
investing in
right.
the economy. That's how this thing works.
That's right.
When you know, so it's not just about making money. So again, I think that to wrap some of this up, we'll go for till about 4:10, since we did have some technical difficulties. You good with that at 4:10?
Copy.
Okay, that works for you. All right, because I was
Mm-hmm.
gonna go to 4. If you got to leave at 4, let me know. All right.
We're good.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure. So again, thanks for that. I appreciate that. So, like I said, on the real side, the trauma for a lot of us comes from childhood. That's what I'm
Yeah.
really getting at. That's why I was like, should I start later? Should I start early? No, it starts from a lot of us from childhood. And the trauma, part of the trauma is, like I said, for me, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was the stigma of poverty. I didn't want people to think I was poor. So when I got older, I started robbing so I could wear nice brand, name brand stuff. It's really that simple. Now I'm looking like, wow, it's crazy, but that's what it was, right? And there were other people doing the same thing. But the trauma, we don't call it trauma. We just, oh yeah, we grew up, man, it was tough, man, it was this and that. But part of the trauma is that feeling that lack. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, like, not, because what it can do is it can make you feel like you're not enough. If you don't have enough, think about it. If you don't have money, the resources, and that, for some people, it makes you feel inadequate.
That's
And so
true.
when we do, right, it's real. Men and women. We see women, for example, and I'm going to give an example for men too, but because they may not have money, they may do other stuff to get money because they
That's
still
right.
have to devalue themselves so they can get what they feel to get what they need. Right?
That's right. That's right.
That's one level of it. And it could be other levels of trauma. With men,
That's what,
it could be that, but it's often trying to fit in, trying to
be a man.
yeah, exactly. Trying to figure out what being a man is like, because you don't know. Most people, the father wasn't there, right? Like my dad. So it's women who's raising the boys, right? And
That's
the
right.
women, they raising all everybody, right? And so men trying to figure out what it's like, how you're supposed to be a man, and a lot of times it comes out through violence, right? So, but my point is that the trauma of not having money or being poor, or having these money scripts, these messages about money from a young age, it really, for a lot of us, plays out for the rest of our lives, right? It really, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, not short term, it stays with us, right?
That's right.
So it's until we intervene, to you and I and other people, the brother Blair, because he knows a lot about investing, and we get other people. Next year, let me just say this, I'm jumping ahead, but I intend to do a summit. So I just want to put that out there.
That's going to be fantastic.
A nice summit on entrepreneurship and personal finance. I'm going to try to get, I know I'm going off track, but I'm going to try to get Columbia University, like how they do their school of social work, and they do Beyond the Boss. I know some people there. So I'm gonna start getting on. I got to figure out when I want to do it, but I want to do something where we got about 300, 500 people. Maybe
that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, because we need to bring the people together and talk about this money thing. I want to try to get panelists, the whole thing, right? Seriously, so I'm putting that out there so you can start brainstorming and thinking about, as time goes by, people, not anybody. We got to be selective. People who might be a part of, like, the planning committee, for example. Let's start with that. People who, they have to bring something to the table. Again, I'm going off track, but they have to bring something. Maybe they have the space. Maybe they have the, not just because they're good people. I'm just saying that. I'm just keeping it real. Right? So keep that in mind. So anyway, I digressed a little bit, but I'm saying that's another way of bringing it to the people. Though, right? That's another way of bringing it to the people. So with that said, like I said, trauma is real. It often starts as a young age, and we need to identify it as soon as we can, because otherwise we'll continue in this money trap, right? Hustling for money, trading our time for money. We got this whole thing backwards, and often we will spend money because of the trauma, right? Meaning spend, and not save and invest, because it's almost like we working through our trauma by buying things. Right? That's what a
That's
lot
true.
of people do. Right? They have a term for it called retail therapy. Retail
Right.
therapy. So instead of seeing a therapist, you go shopping and you feel good, and people are like, oh, girl,
Right.
that's nice. That's a nice outfit. Oh, those are nice kicks. Whatever this and that. And it's like, okay, that feels good. And then what? Then you gotta get another pair. You gotta
That's
buy another sweater. You gotta, you know what I'm saying?
true. True.
So yeah, it's deep. It never ends. You got to feel good from
A
within.
cycle.
It's a cycle. You have to feel good from within. So, what are you in terms of this? If you want to talk a little bit more about now other people in general, right? So not
Okay.
just you or I, but about trauma as it relates to money and the hood. How do you think it plays out? How do you think we can get people to see that, to recognize that, that's what it is, man. Like you hurting without saying it, and so that way we can redirect them.
I remember in the global pandemic when, everything was shutting down, that everybody started scamming the cards and the PPP loans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And because everybody thought it was like the end of the world. When I say the cards, the Social Security, like everything was abused. But for the first time, the hood was eating. And I saw people in the hood who never even traveled in their life go on their first trip.
That's true. A lot of people that's true.
Right.
Going on the cruises, going on all that stuff.
And it was their first time because they stole the money essentially. And I remember just sitting down and just thinking in the global pandemic, like how much of the poor were left behind. And I'm like, can I even call this a crime when society has literally abandoned all the hoods, and the money that they're using it to live their life almost like if it was their last day. And
No, that's deep. No, that's deep. But let me speak to it. That's deep though. Let me say this. No, listen, Camacho. No, that's a good way of looking at it. And I mean, because that's what happened. This is the unfortunate part to me, because that's real, right? The unfortunate part is that I bet many people did not invest.
They didn't. They regret it to the day.
And you know what? During the pandemic, I invested more, not less, more. Because let me give you an example, right? Netflix stock went up crazy because people was in the house. It was a pandemic. It was at home. Zoom stock went up. I bought both. I'm just giving an example of how this money game work. We can make it work for us. So all you got to do is look at human. You see what I'm saying, Camacho? You look at human behavior. You look at what's going on in the world, and then you can get an idea. In your mind, you're already creative and resourceful. In your mind, you can say, okay, this is probably where the money is going to go. I'm telling you, when I be reading articles, I be looking at, okay, if they having I'm not with war, I'm anti-war, I have to say that, right? And I don't invest in it directly, but let's say somebody wanted to invest in ExxonMobil. It's not my thing, but if there's a war, I hate to say it like that, then there's going to be more consumption of oil. They need it to you see what I'm saying? That's how it works. It's you follow the money. How, you know what I'm saying? As they say. So, or the money actually leads, everything, but you follow the money. So that's one way to start thinking about investing. And as time goes by, I'll coach you through how this thing works, get you started in investing, because like I said, I bet very few people, trillions of dollars was pumped into the economy. That's why they call it stimulus. It's meant to stimulate the economy. So they had the PPP loans, everybody getting paid, they traveling, they, like you said, they're living their life. That's beautiful. But now, 3-4 years later, I bet you a lot of them, I hate to say it, are broke.
That's right.
They're broke. And guess who got rich? And think about it. Now I'm going into mindset, consumer mindset, ownership mindset. Consumer mindset, I'm going on vacation. I'm not saying people shouldn't have did those things. I'm saying that you could do some of those things and invest. Do both.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? If you just do the investing, then you'll have more money to travel, to do whatever you want. That's how
right.
I think about it. I look at it's working for me so that I can then live my life, right?
That's right.
And so, but if I spend it and it's not being put to work, guess what? I'm getting somebody else rich. If I go on Carnival Cruise, whoever owns shares in Carnival Cruise, that's a stock. It really is a stock. I can go on a stock exchange tomorrow, for example, and get Carnival Cruise shares. You can do the same thing. So the more people go on cruises, I make money. That's how you got the same thing with Nike, with Nvidia, with all these companies, right? The public companies. So I say all that to say that yes, I get it. I get, like, wow, they came off, this and that. But did they years later? Did they get richer? Did they get wealthier? Like, you know what I'm saying? That now people will have them stories. Stories, they'll say, yo, I came up, they were sending me 2,000 a month, however they was doing. And the stories, it's part of their lived experience. I would rather, we're talking mindset now, ownership mindset. I would rather have invested money, especially the PPP loans. Some of them was big, right? Take them loans and maybe travel with some. I ain't gonna lie, because I like to travel, right? But a big chunk of that would have gone towards investing or in my business or something like that. Something that's gonna make more money, and I don't have to work for it. Right, that's what we want to get people to. But it's a deep thing. They accomplished their mission to stimulate the economy because they knew people were gonna spend it. Right? They didn't call it. They call it like I said, a stimulus check. They didn't say a spending check because they knew you were gonna spend it. Right? I got about 3 of them things. I think I got like 3 or 4 or something. And I would divide it. I would say some of this money, my wife and I, we're going to do this. And then the other money was going straight to investment. I ain't have to pay taxes on it. The government gave it to me. So I'm like, oh, thanks. Good looking. Right? And I just bought more shares. You know what I'm saying? So that money just kept working for me. So that's how we want to do it, though. No, but it's real. So the whole thing of trauma. So we're going to wrap up in a minute. And we'll be sure to... bring you back in the future. Hopefully, you know of other people who want to talk about different topics as it relates to money, incarceration, not just trauma, but different things. We talk about investing, we talk about saving, but we just wanted to really talk about the mindset that is needed to be a smart investor, to think, or just to be someone who thinks wisely when it comes to money. We talked about the impact of trauma, right? And how people can think that this is their last day. You gave a couple of examples, right? People can think, that it's their last day because, it's not like they have a bright future. The way they look at it. And so, and how that can cause people to spend like crazy. Not save, not invest. It's like, yo, I got it. It's now. And then some people feel like they deserve it, like they haven't had it, they deserve it. So it's like, I never had it, so I'm gonna enjoy this life, So anyway, so what we're gonna do is, I think the way this platform works is even though we will both in the session, we will this should be something on your end that says that your recording is going to be downloaded, because you'll have I think the way it works is you'll automatically have a copy, and then I'll have a copy as well. It should be. It probably didn't come up yet, but just let me know. But thank you so much, Camacho. You're a great guest, great person, right? I really believe that I got to witness firsthand, right? I saw it in the hat, but really got to see how passionate you are. And then all the pictures you took, I was like, man, when did she take those pictures? She was all over the place, right? So I said, you had a good time. The kids had a good time, and that's what matters. And so that's good to know. I'm glad, we connected. And whenever there are opportunities for us to connect again, you let me know. If I can do it, I'll do it. And likewise, if I got something coming up, like this month, we're going to have a meetup. You're in Brooklyn, so I'm on Sterling Street, probably at my friend's house.
Oh.
And so it's not far, you know what I'm saying? And we do a nice meetup. So with that said, I'm going to end this recording. It's been a pleasure, and thank you, and thank everyone for for joining Voices on the Grind. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening. Peace and blessings.
Yep.